Timing is luck too. When you practice affirmation and you happen to succeed in the area of your focus, it feels like extraordinary luck. That's how you perceive it anyway. I'll describe some of Lucky's parts of my story so you can get a sense for how deep luck sometimes needed to run before you find a success. The biggest component of luck is timing. When my timing has been off, no amount of hard work or talent is mattered. It wasn't complete accident that luck found me. I put myself in a position where luck was more likely to happen. The hunter still has to be lucky, but he manages his situation to increase his odds. I did something similar. I tried a lot of different ventures, stayed optimistic, put in the energy, prepared myself by learning as much as I could, and I stayed in the game long enough for luck to find me. I hoped in a book would I hoped a book would eventually walk by, and the deleteries it did. 잘 안되고 있죠, 지금. 포커싱이 안되고 있어요, 집중이. The good timing is deep but was relentless. At about some time, technology itself became a celebrity. The internet exploded. The dot-com era happened, and all things technical was suddenly fascinating, even to the general public. The success of Dilbert is mostly a story of luck, but I did make it easier for luck to find me, and I was totally prepared when it did. Luck won't give you a strategy or system. You have to do that part yourself. I find it helpful to see world as a slot machine. It doesn't ask you to put money in. All it asks is your time, focus, and honesty for the handle over and over. A normal slot machine that requires money will bankrupt any player in the long run. But the machine that has rare yet certain payoffs and asks for no money up front is a guaranteed winner. If you have what it takes and keep yanking until you get lucky. In that environment, you can fail 99% of the time, while knowing success is guaranteed. All you need to do is stay in the game long enough. A few times affirmations work. I agreed and started writing during that time, and usually while lying on the treadmill at the gym, I repeated a new affirmation in my head. I, Scott Adams, will be the #1 best-selling author. With so many good things happening, I convinced myself that I could do just about anything that I set my mind to. I discounted the affirmations as being nothing more than a way to focus, and I figured I no longer needed that plus. I can tell you that I believe affirmations and caused my few successes, or than not doing affirmations and doing the other projects failure. I can only tell you what I did and when. As I've explained, there are a number of perfect, reasonable explanations for the pattern. The one that stands out in my mind is that I really had no love for work involved in a TV show, the burrito, or the restaurants, and I felt relief when it ended. The pattern I noticed is that the affirmation on your word when I have a 100% unambiguous desire for success. If I could have snapped my fingers and made a TV show, the burrito, and the restaurant is successful, I would have done it. But I knew I wouldn't enjoy the ongoing management of any one of them. Did my mixed feelings matter? I'll never know. I used affirmations and only one more time. And in that case, I had no mixed feelings. I wanted to know something as much as any person can want. Dealing with experts is always tricky. Are they honest? Are they competent? How often are they right? My observation is best. I guess it is an expert and right about 98% of the time on the easy stuff, but only right 50% of the time on anything that is usually complicated, mysterious, or even new. If your gut feelings intuition disagrees with an expert, take that seriously. You might be experiencing some pattern recognition that you can't yet verbalize. My co-workers and I had a good laugh at a summer intern who exposed an wicked theory about success being a function of neighborhood you choose to live in. His plan was to get into the best apartment he could afford in an upscale neighborhood, no matter how many roommates that might require him to have, and then let some sort of fake magic do the rest. He was willing to work hard, go to school, obey the law, and take all of the normal steps to success, but the figure that could only take him so far. The real kick wasn't his brilliant plan to live among rich people until he couldn't become one by association. He seemed like such a rational guy in every other way, but this rich by association scheme wasn't just plain stupid. Upon interrogation, I learned that he wasn't suggesting he would network and make important contacts with his well-to-do neighbors. There was no defined mechanism to explain how proximity to rich people would make him successful. The best he could offer was his observation that life had patterns and hence this wasn't one of them. You become like in the people around you. That seems obvious when you think about it. Give the power of peer pressure and that sort of thing. And this situation, who you associate with make a big difference. But this is a special case and quite different from the rich by association hypothesis. Still, there was enough similarity between the two cases that it began to register with me as an opposition pattern. Still, that's very different from the rich by association theory, which has no obvious mechanism. I understand the coincidences and normally just that, but they seem special because then we don't get to see all of things that don't happen. Still, my pattern detector perked up. Here were two guys who worked with me and ended up following a similar model. Did their proximity to me matter in some way, perhaps by example or inspiration, or would they have written books anyway? There is no way to know. I think it did. It made a success outside of my field seem accessible. It made it real. Humans are social animals. There are probably dozens of ways we absorb energy, inspiration, skills, and character traits from those around us. Sometimes we learn by example. Sometimes the success appears in a more approachable and ordinary because we see normal people achieve it. And perhaps that encourages us to pursue schemes with higher payoffs. Sometimes the people around us give us any information we need, or encouragement, or context, or even useful criticism. We can't always know the mechanism by which others change our future actions, but it's pretty clear it happens and it's important. Years ago, I mocked an intern for thinking his choice of neighbors would influence his career if he's written this book. I'd like to offer my apology. I can easily see that where you live in my influence, the energy you put into your career. If you live near optimistic winners, those qualities are sure to rub off to some extent. and I advise you to consider this fact a primary tool for programming your moisture robot. The programming interface is your location to change yourself. Part of the solution might involve spending more time with the people who represent the change you seek. For example, you will find it much easier to exercise in an environment where others are exercising. When you watch others exercise, it activates an exercise subroutine in your own brain. Likewise, it's often easier to work when others are working in the same room, so long as they don't bug you too much. Given our human impulse and pick up the habits and energy of others, you can use the knowledge to literally program your brain the way you want. Simply find the people who most represent what you would like to become and spend as much time with them as you can without trespassing, kidnapping, or stalking. Their good habits and good energy will rub off on you. Happiness. The only reasonable goal in life is maximizing your total lifetime experience in something called happiness. That may sound selfish, but it's not. A normal person needs to treat others well in order to enjoy life. For the sake of argument, let's assume you're normal-ish. If you want to boost your happiness, it helps to understand what happiness is and how it works. You might think the science of happiness is very obvious, but it's not. Happiness is like gardening, only seems simple. Let's just start with defining happiness and agreeing on what causes it. My definition of happiness is the feeling you get when your body chemistry is producing pleasant sensation in your mind. The definition is compatible with the science of happiness. It's attempting to imagine happiness as a state of mind caused by whatever is happening in your life. But that way of thinking, we largely victims of a cold world that sometimes rewards in a good work and sometimes punishes us for no reason. That's the helpless in good work and sometimes punishes us for no reason. That's a helpless world view and it can blind you to a simple system for being happier. Science has done a good job in recent years of demonstrating that happiness isn't as it depends on your circumstances as you might think. And you know from your own experience that some people seem to be happy no matter what is going on in their lives, while others can find happiness no matter how many things are going right. We are all born with a limited range of happiness, and the circumstances of life can only take us around within the range. The good news is that anyone who has experienced happiness probably has the capacity to spend more time at the top of his or her personal range and less time near the bottom. In my case, my baseline is one fence between happy and unhappy, so staying near the top of the narrow range makes all difference. To do that, I treat myself like the moist robot I am and manipulate my body chemistry as needed. I also try to improve my situation and the circumstances wherever I can, but I see that as 20% of solution. The big part, the 80% of happiness is nothing but chemistry experiment, and it's hugely helpful to think of it that way. You can't always quickly fix whatever is wrong in your environment, and you can prevent negative thoughts from drifting into your head, but you can easily control your body chemistry through lifestyle, and that in turn will cause your thoughts and turn positive while making the bumps in your past feel less important. Let's get to the mechanics of manipulating your body chemistry. Obviously, your doctor can give you a pill to change your mood, Antidepressant a big business, and you can change your chemistry by drinking alcohol or doing recreational drugs. The problem with each of those methods is that it comes with risks and side effects you rather avoid. I advocate a more natural approach. For starters, another single biggest trick of manipulating your happiness chemistry is being able to do what you want when you want. I'm conscious that the more common situation in which you might be able to do all things you want, but you can't often do them when you want. The timing of things can be more important than the intrinsic value of things. You need to control the order and the timing of things to be happy. It's important to look at happiness in terms of timing, because timing is easier to control than resources. It's hard to become rich enough to buy your own private island, but relatively speaking, it's easier to find a job with flexible hours. A person with a flexible schedule and average resources will be happier than a rich person who has everything except in a flexible schedule. Step 1 in your search for happiness is to continually work toward having control of your schedule. Those parents might have all the stuff they could ask for, but no flexibility to enjoy what they want and when they want. By any definition, what I'm doing is work, but because I can control the timing of it and those particular day, it doesn't feel like work. I've transformed the work into the pleasure simply by having control over when I do it. In your personal life and your career, consider schedule flexibility when making any big decision. Realistically, just to remember to keep your eye out for ways to maximize your schedule freedom in the long term. It's just something you want to work toward. That brings me to the next important mechanism for happiness. Happiness has more to do with where you're heading than where you are. We tend to feel happy when things are moving in the right direction and unhappy when things are trending bad. The directional nature of happiness is one reason. It's a good idea to have a sport or a hobby that leaves you plenty to room to improve every year. Slow and steady improvement. Slow and steady improvement at anything makes you feel that you are on the right track. The feeling of a progress stimulates your body to create the chemicals that make you feel happy. When you choose a career, consider whether it will lead to the lifetime of ever improved performance. As a cartoonist, my drawing skills have slowly improved over most of my career, and that is a source of happiness for me. If you are lucky enough to have a career options, and only one of them affords the path to continued improvement, choose that one, all else being equal. The next element of happiness you need to master is imagination. I wrote about this in the context of raising your energy, which is closely related to happiness, but it bears repeating in this chapter. Pessimism is often a failure of imagination. If you can imagine the future being brighter, it lifts your energy and boosts your chemistry in your body. That produces the sensation of happiness. If you can't even imagine and improve the future, you won't be happy, no matter how well your life is going right. I find it useful to dream that the future will be better than today by far. I like to imagine a future that is spectacular and breathtaking. The daydreams need not to accurate in terms of predicting the future. Simply imagining a better future hacks your brain chemistry and provides you with a sensation of happiness today. Being happy raises an energy level and makes it easier to pursue the steps towards the real world happiness. This is another case in which your imagination can influence the real world. Don't let reality control your imagination. Let your imagination be the user interface to steer your reality. The next important thing to remember about happiness is that it's not a mystery of the mind and it's not magic. Happiness is the natural state of most people whenever they feel healthy, have a flexible schedule, and expect the future to be good. I exercise, I had a healthy rewards now, and now I'm totally happy, even though I'm working, rewriting, and tweaking this chapter. Taking care of my body always influences my happiness more than whatever task I'm involved in. That's an important point, because normally when you feel unhappy, you blame your mood on whatever your environment is serving up to you. I'm here to tell you that primary culprit in your bad mood is a deficit in one of the big five: flexible schedule, imagination, sleep, diet, and exercise. I've explained a number of people my observations about how exercise, diet, and sleep influence mood. The usual reaction is blank expression followed by the change of topic. No one wants to believe that the formula for happiness isn't as simple as daydreaming, controlling your schedule, napping, eating right, and being active every day. Based on a lifetime observation, my best estimate is 80% of your mood is based on how your body feels, and only 20% is based on your genes and circumstances, particularly your health. Ask yourself this question. At times, when you're exercising early in the day, eating well, hydrated, and had enough sleep, what percentage of those times have you found yourself in a good mood? I'll bet you don't know the answer to that question because it's not a sort of thing anyone pays attention to. But now that I put the idea in your head, you automatically find yourself noticing the link between a daily body maintenance and your not so mysterious and happiness. I predict you will observe that your good moods are highly correlated with exercise and diet and sleep. Exercise has two very different benefits that are hard to untangle. The exercise itself releases natural pain-relieving substances, endorphins, and that gives an direct feeling of well-being. But exercise is also meant to escape from whatever was stressing you before you race in your athletic shoes. That's why I recommend forms of exercises that occupy your mind at the same time as your muscles. Exercise also helps you sleep better, so that's a double benefit. One of big five factors in happiness: flexible schedule, imagination, diet, exercise, and sleep. My pick for the most important is exercise. If exercise sounds like a lot of work, we form a chapter on the easiest way to become active. If the list of 5 elements for happiness seems incomplete, there's intentional. I know you might also want sex and a soulmate, fame, recognition, a feeling of importance, career and success, and lots more. My contention is that 5 pursuit of happiness will act as a magnet for other components in the happiness you need. When you're fit, happy, and full of energy, people are far more likely to have sex with you, be your friend, and hire you, sometimes all in the same day. But a smart approach is to take care of yourself first and use that success as leverage to get everything else you need. After some self-reflection, I realized that I wasn't feeling adrift. I no longer had a primary purpose in life because I already achieved it. It was an airy feeling, unreal and unsettling. I had no kids at the time, so I had no reason to achieve anything more. I did deep well in a below the baseline and happiness and I wasn't rebounding. The way I climbed out of my funk wasn't realizing that my newbie acquired resources that could help me change the world in some small but positive way. 100% successfully giving me a meaningful purpose, which allowed my optimism and the energy to return. Unhappiness that is caused by too much success in a high-class problem. That's the sort of unhappiness people work in all their lives to get. If you find yourself there, and then I hope you do, you will find your attention naturally turning outward. You'll seek happiness in it through service to others. I promise it will feel wonderful. People become unhappy if they have too many options in life. The problem with the options is that choosing any path can leave you plagued with self-doubt. You quite rationally think that one of the paths not chosen might have worked out better. They can eat at you. That's why I find a great comfort in routine. I never waste a brain cell in the morning trying to figure out what to do when. Compared to when some people who spend 2 hours in planning and deciding for every task and it takes 1 hour to complete. I'm happier than those people. Recapping the happiness formula: eat right, exercise, get enough sleep, imagine incredible future, work towards a flexible schedule, do things you can steadily improve it, help others if you already helped yourself, reduce daily decisions to routine. If you have those 8 things, the rest of what you need to stimulate the chemistry of happiness in your brain will be a lot easier to find. In fact, the other components in happiness that you seek, such as career opportunities, love, and friends, might find their way to you if you make yourself an attractive target.